Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure. Congratulations, by the way, on obviously launching this, as well as your real estate license. Because we're a huge advocate of people getting their real estate license, no matter what stage of life they're in. I think it's something that's vital to have, especially if you want to be a real estate investor. So shout out to you for making that step. Really commend you, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man.
I always tell people it's more important than your driver's license.
Actually, it'll make you some money, right?
You know, real talk. And the same way people have car insurance, but they don't have life insurance, I'd say you should have your real estate license more important than your driver's license.
Even before all that, thank you guys for coming out.
Nah, it's all love.
You know what I mean? We've been working back and forth for the last month and a half, trying to kind of make this work. And finally, we're here.
For sure. No, and I do apologize because
don't worry.
We're doing a little world tour right now. As I told you, we're shooting our Twii tour. I apologize. Every year this guy goes on his tour, and I'm like, this year I'm like, let me come join you. But we're shooting a real estate reality TV show called The Road to Development. We haven't launched it yet, so it's breaking news. I thought today would be the best. Would be the best place to launch it. Working on some stuff with possibly Amazon Prime or Netflix, but it's dope. We're doing every episode's going to be in a different city. So we shot some stuff in Miami. We shot some stuff in Atlanta. That's an episode we just did last weekend. I told you, and then we're in Europe, Santorini, Greece. So we're traveling the world right now. We're traveling the world, and we're exploring real estate opportunities. We're exploring development opportunities, and we're really seeing, is Canada the best place for real estate? Because at the end of the day, we're sick and tired of the snow, and we're trying to find somewhere where we can chill for the winter time. So is it Dubai? Is it Miami? You got to tune into the show to find out.
Well, that's super exciting. So let's take it back to the beginning of why did you guys choose real estate as your vehicle of your career?
So I'll be honest. I remember I was 16 years old, and I was driving with my mom in the car. There was an ad on Flow 93.5 for a Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar. And I remember just watching YouTube. Robert Kiyosaki is one of those guys that we look up to. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad was actually one of the first books that my mentors had told me to read, and understanding the mentality of a rich dad.
Shout out to mentors. I want to touch on that as well.
Mentors are key. I wouldn't be here today without my mentors, and having that guidance, because they helped me speed up the process of success. At the end of the day, they got me there with as little detours as possible because they've done it already, right? So I heard this seminar, and I went to it. It was a full weekend seminar, and the one thing that stuck out for me was they said 90% of millionaires are built with real estate. Unfortunately, I don't have the athletic ability that Twii has. He played ball, I got cut at first tryout, and I couldn't rap, I couldn't sing. So I'm thinking, how am I gonna take care of my family? How am I gonna make millions? And when I heard that was the one thing that I couldn't tell you anything else from that weekend, but that one thing, he said 90% of millionaires are built with real estate. And I said, you know what? I like my odds. I'm going to figure out how I can invest, how I can just get into this game, because I'm trying to take care of my family.
And what age were you, when you first got that license or even attended the schooling, went online? It was OREA back then.
It was
right?
OREA, 100%.
OREA.
Yeah, so it was 3 phases before they sold to Humber College.
Right.
And we both got our first property at 21. But I didn't get my license until 2019.
Back when prices were nice.
Prices were, bro. I got my first condo in the Marilyn Monroe buildings. It was $219,000.
No shit.
It was a 1+1, 654 square feet on the 6th floor. I remember it like it was yesterday. And my mentor was actually, at the time, he sold the unit for me. So that's how we kind of started. We were interviewing different real estate agents.
Yeah.
And, I saw him pull up. He had the Louis V duffel bag. Pulled up in a Range Rover, and I said, you know what?
He had the essentials.
That's it. I said, you know what? I like this lifestyle, and I said, you know what? I would like to live like this. And I didn't see any people that look like me doing it at a very high level before. So I'm just like, how can I be like you? He gave me a little blueprint.
Right.
And I'm one of those people where it's just like, I'm about action. I'm about execution.
To take that step, because I know a lot of 20-year-olds, I remember what I was doing when I was 20. I wasn't thinking about real estate, right? So what kind of gave you guys the vision at that early of an age, right, to even invest your money first, not to check your pockets, but how did you raise capital to do that?
I'm a hustler.
Hustle.
I started my first business at 8 years old.
Yeah.
I sold cars, I sold hot tubs, I sold Blackberries, I've sold pretty much anything I can get my hands on.
Whatever you can transact.
Whatever I could transact, I was flipping,
Right.
So at that age, you know, I was actually driving a truck. So my uncle owned a trucking company, and I drove a truck for 3 years, and I saved up, bro. I was delivering for Lowe's, so we were delivering fridges, stoves, appliances.
Whatever you got to do.
Whatever we could do. It was the toughest job, but at the end of the day, I was able to save up roughly about $1,000 a month. You know, so it took me about a year and a half, almost 2 years to save up.
Yeah.
And I was just so determined to take my family out of the current situation that we were in. Like, you have to understand, I moved over 30 times. You know, my mom's a single mom, struggling. And at the end of the day, I wanted to change my family's life.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, I could be popping bottles in the club. I could be buying the newest Jordans. All that stuff is great.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I knew that stuff wasn't going to help change my family's life. So I knew that I had to make a sacrifice to get things to the next level.
And then to bring that to, you know, full circle, where'd you guys meet in Twii? Let's kind of break, you know, how was your journey? How did you start off?
So my journey was a little different, but there's a lot of similarities with Danyel.
Right. Did you guys know each other growing up?
No.
Okay.
No. So it's funny. It's divine. You know?
And we went to the same university and didn't even know each other then either.
So how I got started was back when I was, I guess, 12 years old, let's say, 12 or 11, I was an artist. So I ended up actually going to art school. And my passion at the time was I used to draw houses. So I grew up in the hood. So I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment, slept in my parents' room. Then I finally grew up and I emptied out the storage room and I ended up making that into a bedroom.
That's your den now.
Exactly. You know, that's
den.
Need
exactly.
Your space. Exactly. Flex space, right? And so, you know, growing up in those circumstances, I was like, okay, there has to be better out there. There has to be more out there, right? And I remember going to one of my friend's houses for the first time. His name is Matthew. And went to his house for the first time. And then he opened up a door and there were stairs going downstairs. I was like, whoa, yo, where are you taking me? I'm like, what's this? You know, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, this is my basement. And then I went down there and I saw this world under there. I was like, what the heck? He had the big screen TV, back when the big screen TVs would sit on the floor.
Right. And it had a big back in the
exactly, and a huge back, you know? And I was like, yo, this is insane. I'm like, how do we live like this? You know what I'm like? How come I live like that and you live like this? You know? So at that age, I was very aware. I was
wanted
very
better
coherent.
and more.
Wanted a lot more, you know? And then I had an older brother, right? So my older brother would always put me on and be like, he would always have people around him that, you know, had nice cars, were doing their thing, etc. And I was like, okay, there has to be another way out there, right?
And they look like us, so.
And exactly. So when I was actually 12 years old, we used to go to like the sales centers. We used to go to Mattamy. We used to go to like Aspen Ridge.
Just
all
dream.
these sales. That's it. I used to just grab the package, come home, analyze price lists, draw houses. Like that was literally what I would do on Sundays right after church. And then
you're an architect early on.
Early on, I'm not. No lie. And around the same time, I used to go. Remember back then there was the bus stops, right? And the bus stops had the yellow boxes with the Automarts and the resale home magazines. I used to grab those and I used to be looking at cars. Okay, I want a Mazda, you know, I want an Altima, like, you know.
That was the vision board, vision board early on.
Yeah, real talk.
And then I saw a house flipping through the resale home magazine because this is before internet, right? So I saw a house in the resale home magazine. It was a detached list at $314,900. And at that same time, I was seeing townhouses at like $299. I was like, wait a second, this is a great deal if it's at $314,900 and it's bigger of a house, it's a detached, etc. And then I told my mom, I went to her, I'm like, this is a great deal. Because I know that she was bluffing every time we're going to go look for houses, but I'm like, trust me, this is something we should consider.
But mom is actively looking, like she's looking.
Kinda.
Right.
And
she's dreaming as well.
Exactly. Or she's just entertaining my dream, right? Gotcha. And then so fast forward, I went to my bro, I'm like, yo, trust me, we need to consider this. We ended, fast forward, a few months later, we actually bought that house. Wow. We actually closed on it and we moved into that house. That was my summer of grade 8 going into grade 9. So grade 9, I went to art school. And then, you know, I took architecture throughout high school, which was sick. My school had an architecture program.
Actually.
And then, I was trying to get into architecture at Carleton. Didn't get in because of my physics marks, but everything else was stellar. And then, so they're like, okay, go in for economics, then you can transfer out. So while I was in Carleton, I didn't end up doing the transfer route, but then my bro was like, take the real estate course. I'm like, you're right. That is something I should consider.
I kind of love it.
I actually love this industry.
Right.
So I took the real estate courses back when I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Right. So I'm doing this while I'm in school, and I'm not even focusing on school because all I care about is this.
Yeah.
So I ended up finishing when I was 21, and I finished that before I finished my undergrad. So when I walked the stage at Carleton, I was already a licensed realtor. I already started making
You're ready
money.
to go. You just had to finish
You know,
up.
I'm just like, yo, let me get out of here. What is this cap and gown
Right,
shit?
right,
Yo,
right.
I'm gone. You know what I mean?
Let me make some bucks now. Let me get into it.
Exactly. And then how I bought my first property was, man, I was just grinding. I was grinding, you know, road this, that, flex this. Like I was just trying to make something work, you know? And back then I bought my first property with 5% down.
Nice 5% down.
5% down pre-con,
Yeah.
because I was subscribed to a company that was always shooting out these crazy pre-con deals. Buy with $5,000, buy with $10,000. And I was like, whoa, that's not.
10 on signing. This and
Yeah,
that. Boom,
exactly.
boom,
And I was
boom.
like, whoa, that's not out of reach. And then I took advantage of one of the opportunities because I was selling it as well at this time, and bought it with 5% down,
Right.
$11,000. Bought it for $209. Ended up assigning it 2 years. $11,000. Ended up signing it 2.5 years later for $315. Made $100,000. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
this
that's the
is
game.
over.
This
is real.
Yeah,
This is the game now.
I'm like, this is over.
Right? It became real to you guys
Yeah,
at that point.
I'm like, I'm
right?
hitting the ground
So
running.
from that point on, you're about 2022. You're around that age as well. You guys have your properties. You're looking for the next thing. When did you guys actually meet? Like, how does that happen now? Because you're on your journey and you're kind of looking for your next thing as well.
Sure.
Right?
So I'll say this to say, like, my first deal, I didn't make $100,000.
Sure.
I made 5 G's, and I had to split it with my best friend at the time, right? Because I'm coming from a place where it's like flip, 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 and I didn't understand that real estate is
The buy and hold game.
yeah, it's a slow money game. It's not get rich quick,
It's like a rich tomorrow scheme.
but it's get rich slow.
Right.
But coming from where I was coming from, flipping business, sell a car, sell a phone, I thought I just had to.
Like 6 months
Yeah,
in.
that's it. So I was 6 months in and out. We bought it for $219. We sold it for like $250. In my opinion, I thought I made 30 G's.
Right.
And I realized I had to pay commissions
And taxes.
and taxes. And by the time that was done, there was $5,000 left.
Right.
And this is after 6 months worth of work. We
Lesson
renovated
learned,
the
though,
place.
no?
We ripped up the carpet. We laid down laminate floors. We painted it. Like we put in sweat equity.
Right.
Right. But that moment there was like I still saw an opportunity, because even though I didn't make a lot of money, I still saw the potential. And I saw that if I would
And
have
you
held
learned how to renovate a damn home,
100%,
right? That whole
100%.
process that goes into it.
most definitely. So I lost your question though. What was the question that you
I
asked?
don't know, we're just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
bro.
No, but okay, so let me say
My
that to
question
say,
is literally, how
we
did you
meet?
guys meet?
oh, how did
right?
we meet? So we met in 2019. I was selling a project, and I was reaching out to a bunch of different agents.
Yeah.
David was recommended by a family friend, and they spoke very highly of him, and also his big brother as well. So I remember there was a girl that went to my church, and she was always speaking so highly of his brother. And she's like, yo, this guy, he bought me all my furniture for my place. And he was just like such a good-hearted person. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, yo, you got to connect with him. But me personally, like, I don't like to meet people unless there's
For a purpose?
Yeah, it's just I'm not just meeting up with you just to shoot the shit or anything like that. Like, if we're meeting, there's intention behind it. Right. So I was selling a project, and the project was in Niagara Falls, and I reached out to David. I said, you know what? This is something that's affordable. I think that your clients could benefit from this, and we're looking for a few people. So we met up at Cactus Club at Sherway in 2019, and once I understood, like we were just chopping it up a little bit. His story was the same as mine.
Right.
Single mom, bought his first property at 21.
I think most of our stories are the same in that. Yeah.
Very similar. You know what I mean?
It is what it is.
Very, very similar.
Right.
And from there, to be honest with you, we were just locked in, and then COVID hit. We were stuck in the crib, and I was just like, yo, bro, let's just start a podcast, bro. Like, we were lucky and blessed to have had mentors in our life.
So you guys started your podcast in 2020.
In 2020,
yeah.
Got you.
right? And it was COVID, and we were kicked up in the crib, and there was a basement. We had a room in the basement. It was a spare bedroom. So you know what, yo, let's just turn this into a podcast studio. So we bought some mics, got some cameras, and that's where M2M was birthed, in the basement throughout COVID. And this movement has allowed us to meet a lot of important people. And to be honest with you, one of the main reasons why we wanted to start it out is because we wanted credibility. We wanted to be able to sit down with people that are actually doing things.
1000%.
Right. And it's just like, as a new agent, I sold cars
And
for
what's
10
the
years.
easiest way to jump on
to
camera
get
and
out
have a
there.
conversation, right? To get access to someone, right?
100%. So we birthed it then. And since then, we've been locked in. We've made millions together. We're doing development deals together. You know, we have over 10 acres, over 300 units
Oh,
we're
yeah.
building
Talk
right
that
now.
shit.
Where we're working, you know what I mean? But it all started with, we had a vision, and, you know, I like to talk to people that, you know, can execute.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people, especially in the city, where you just talk, right? And I noticed that Twii not only came from a great household, you know what I mean? We share the same morals, we share the same integrity.
Same values.
He's a God-fearing man, you know what I mean? And he has a similar integrity that I do, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you know what, we're very aligned. So I'm like, yo, bro, like, listen, let's get to the bag together, bro. Yeah. I think there's power in collaboration, you know, and we noticed that, especially with being back and forth in Atlanta, you know, these guys, they group together.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, there's collaboration over competition. Down there, what I realize is all the competition is at the bottom. Everybody that's getting money at the top, they're working together.
Right.
It's like, all right, you got 1 million followers, I have 600K, I'm gonna do a post for you, you do posts for me, we both blow up. I'm not watching your pockets. Oh, this guy made 300,000 this month and I only made $150. Right. It's like, no, how do I get to 300K this month? And because I just did that for you, can you share some gems with me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's more of a thing where it's just like, you have to find people that you can build with that are aligned and have the same vision as you. You know what I mean? And I think that's very key.
So you guys got your license. What brokerage do you remember?
Yeah, 100%. I was with iPro Realty, and it was great. I didn't have no splits. I was paying $500 a deal.
Zero splits.
Zero splits. It was $500 a deal.
Got you.
Right? So it wasn't an 80-10. I interviewed at Remax, Royal
$5
LePage.
bills across the board. That's it.
Across the board. You know, I interviewed Century 21, Remax, this, that, the third, everything. And at the time, when I first got signed on, I signed on to a team. Because once again, I'm coming from a car sales background. Everybody knows me as the car guy. They don't know me as the real estate guy. Right. So I felt like I had to lean on someone else's expertise.
Their brand, maybe.
That's it. You know what I mean? So when I'm going to listing presentations, I'm going with my mentor at the time and saying, hey, you know what? These are 10 properties we just sold. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't sell them personally. We sold. Our team. Right? And I thought—
that's how you speak to it, right?
That's it. Because I'm like, listen, this is 2019. So I'm 25 years old, turning 26. I'm like, yo, who is going to trust me with their biggest investment? You know what I mean? And I almost doubted myself a bit to say, like, you know what? I'm not good enough. I'm just a car guy. Yeah. Right? And then very, very quickly, I realized that—
do you have those— I think all of us kind of get those insecurities sometimes, like maybe who I am and the color of my skin might not get me in the certain rooms. Have you ever had those feelings sometimes?
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially now development, like we're the only people in the rooms that we're in.
Right.
You know, we stick out like sore thumbs, and it's a blessing and a curse. Right. But at the end of the day, like, we're here to break the narrative. We're here to kick down doors, like,
and prove that we're professionals.
Listen, we're here to buy the building of every door that got closed on us. Oh yeah, that's what we're on right now.
Twii, do you remember yours? Where'd you first land your shop?
So I'm a little different from Daniel. Like I'm a firm believer in that you get what you pay for in life, right? So if something's discounted to you, it's gonna cost you in another area. And so I was paying, I think 80-20. My split was like 80-20. I was working at Dreammaker Realty actually. And it was comforting to see people of the same color, same background as me doing real estate at a high level. And what was good back then is we focused on investment real estate. So this is what I tell realtors that are coming up. Like, if you look in a room full of 100 people, out of those 100 people, how many people actually want to move and how many people want to sell their house in that exact moment that you need a deal? Not many people. Right. But if you look at how many people want to make money, everybody wants to make money. Every day. Everybody wants to make money. That's a lot of people's objective. I'm not gonna say 100% of people, but a lot of people's objective. So what was great back then is we got into selling investment real estate. So every realtor out there should be looking at what type of pre-cons do I see out there that provide value to people that are in my circle that I can show them that I can take advantage of, right? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to need to sell your house this year, but do you want to make money this year?
And have you made money in the past? Right.
Probably, right? So that became our bread and butter, and that was my blessing, because what I tell people is, like, you are your most important client. You know, so it's great to help people. It's great to go on showings and stuff, but
I want to speak to that. So, you know, you say investors. What is, to somebody that doesn't get that, right? Somebody owns a home. How do they become a multi-transactional investor, right? Like, how does that work?
See, I mean, first things first. Like, you wanna understand what you're investing in, right? You want to understand and have that mindset. Okay, that I'm going to be parting with this money for a time period, but this money is there to be making money, right? At the end of the day, like if your money's not working for you, you're losing money. You're losing money at the rate of inflation. You're losing money at the rate of these interest rate hikes. You're losing money. So you got to be able to part with your money, because that's one of the biggest problems in our community, right? It's like, if I have 100 grand, I don't want to see my 100 grand go. You know, and that's our biggest fear, because we never saw 100 grand.
But it's a mindset shift.
It's a mindset
one
shift.
left,
So that's
from
the
left pocket
first
to the
thing
right
that
pocket,
has to
right?
happen, right? And I think even with like our parents' generation, where they're like, they've now gone to a point where they're sitting on property, they're sitting on some equity, but they got to be educated. They understand that I could utilize this equity to now go and double down. So it's like, if you think about it intuitively, if one property makes sense to own and you saw success with it, why wouldn't you want a couple? Why wouldn't you want 3? Why wouldn't you want to scale
The
that?
risk, fair.
And can I say something on that?
You can always sell.
I think it also comes from how we were raised, right? So my grandfather came here in the 70s from
Pay off your
Jamaica.
mortgage.
That's it. He still lives in the same house today. And the house is paid off. And you know how many times I've said, yo, grandpa, yo, let's refinance. Give me $500,000.
Too much stress.
Let me do a development deal. He's seen me make millions of dollars
It's too risky.
since 2019, since I started my real estate, since I got my first property. He's seen all these flips. He's seen
But your grandson, though. Your grandson.
he sees me pull up to his crib
But your grandson,
in the
though.
craziest
It don't even
cars.
matter.
No, you just look at Danyel, man.
But in his mind, it's that scarcity mentality where it's just like his dream was coming to Canada and buying a house.
That's it.
That is as far as his dream was. Where it's like, that's great, but that's not my ceiling. You know, I want a skyscraper down here, and I'm not gonna get there by just living in a house. Yeah, my mortgage is, I don't have a mortgage and he's just paying the bills, but it's just like,
Doing the work.
right now, it's been very, very quiet. In the past 12 months,
Yeah, the leases are up now.
bro, it's right now. The real estate agents online, they're very quiet.
Shaking it right now.
I've seen a lot of realtors. Twii bumped into one. He's valeting his Lamborghini the other day, and the valet person was somebody that he did a real estate deal with 3-4 years ago. Right? People are getting part-time jobs, and that's because people didn't really perfect the skill of understanding real estate.
Build a strong database.
Not even the database, the system. What's your CRM? How many newsletters are you sending out? How many times are you touching your clients? You know what I mean?
A year.
At the end of the day, most people, they seem successful when the market is up. To determine a good real estate agent is
market's down.
right now, when nobody's transacting, who's still traveling?
Who's making a deal or two?
Who's still making deals happen? Who's still buying new cars and upgrading their lifestyle in the worst market that there is? And there is only a small amount of agents that are actually getting busy and they're actually doing deals. But that's because those are the real deals. You know what I mean?
And they're working with investors, to your point.
And that's why it's important, when I was talking about earlier about realtors understanding that they are their most important client. Like, if you're not taking advantage of opportunities you come across, because at the end of the day, you have to realize we have first access to things.
Everything.
So if you don't understand investing in real estate, how can you teach people about investing in real estate? If you're not participating in investment products, you're not going to better your life. You can't rely on people. It's so hard to rely on people in this industry to come through with their word, to buy when you think they're gonna buy. Like, you know how many times I've been let down in this game where it's like you took someone on shows, you drove all around the city thinking they're gonna buy, and like, you know what, we're gonna wait till next year. We spoke to our pastor and he thinks that we should wait. You know what I mean? But it's like,
They had a dream.
Exactly, had a vision.
Right.
But it's like, if you change your mentality slightly, in the sense where it's like, let me focus on investment real estate and allow scale to work in my favor, because now all I have is knowledge, and I can reach as many people as I want to with a click of a button. And then I take meetings based on that, and then I close people based on the value that I've seen or I've found in projects that they may not have ever even heard of, right? And then,
But that's what I mean. Like, how do you, when you see those deals come across, right? Do you have a group of 10 people on your phone that you're like, these are the deals that are going on right now?
Back in my day, I didn't have no CRM, right? So when it comes to sales and systems, that's where he thrives, right? Like, he'll take 200 meetings and close 80.
X, right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
I close
back
more than
in-
80, but
Hey, talking
all
shit.
right. I
All right, my
appreciate
bad,
it.
player.
I appreciate it, though.
I was giving you what, 40% from the field. Okay,
I
my
do more
bad.
than 40%,
Yeah,
bro.
All right,
You're
40%.
King Soul. You're King
Come
Soul.
on,
Think of those
40%.
numbers.
Like, what's 40%?
I was trying to be modest.
Nah, bro.
Okay, there's King Soul in the building. But my day, no, I didn't have no CRMs, but the people that did have those back then probably crushed it. But no, it was like, Auntie, hey, I got this deal. Uncle, boom, I got this deal.
Warm market.
Hey, that's it. You know what I mean? And that's where I saw a lot of success. But when it comes to systems and actually having things implemented that you can actually scale, that's where this guy thrives. And I think having a sales skill is so underrated. Like if you hear this guy on the phone, he's just a beast. Like sometimes he'll get me to consider things. I'm like,
Wait, what?
"No, I'm not listening to you. Bye."
The nonstop selling.
Yeah,
I feel that though.
he doesn't
But
stop.
we have to understand, sales is life. And I just taught a sales course on EYL University last week when we were in Santorini. And one of the main things I spoke about is like sales is the only profession where if it's the 25th or the 26th of the month and I got to pay my bills on the 1st,
Yeah. I'm gonna figure it out.
I can do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like we're out, we're popping bottles in the club, whatever we're doing, we're out for dinner, and I'm paying for the bills. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, "Oh, I got the bill," and I'm like, "Listen, it's
got it.
okay. I'm not paying for that.
Right.
The deal I closed
It's paying for that.
this morning paid for that. You know what I mean? Sales is the only skill where you don't necessarily need to go to school, but like if you could sell yourself,
Yeah.
you can succeed in life. Whether you're picking up girls, whether you're getting a job, whether you're selling real estate, selling cars, sales is that one universal skill where if you actually understand it, you could transform your life in months.
Right. And just by someone liking you.
That's my first year in real estate. I did over $1 million in commissions in 90 days. Did over 100 deals.
Right. And was that cold database? Was that you
No.
running ads? Was like
No, there wasn't.
Where's this business coming from? Is what I'm
So
saying.
at the time, we're on Instagram, and I saw a market with micro and macro influencers, right? So I saw right now that businesses were shifting from running ads, and they were actually paying influencers to post.
Got you.
Right? So I had a deal that I worked out with a few different influencers. They were posting, and at the time I was getting paid 4% commission.
They're posting.
They were posting like projects that I was selling, right? They were directing the traffic to my page, and I'm talking people with 100, 200,000
Yeah, good numbers.
real organic followers. They were sending traffic to my page. In return, when I closed the deal, I was giving them back a
Yeah,
percent.
give them a call back.
And listen, at the end of the day, everybody's got to eat.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And I have no problem paying, because I'd rather pay 1% out of my 4% to an influencer than run $20,000, $30,000 on ads that I know may not convert.
Yeah.
If somebody's coming to me from a referral, that's a warm lead.
Yeah.
They're
It's a 50-50 at least.
Yeah, but they're coming from a trusted source.
Right.
As
That
opposed
barrier's already come down.
that's it. As opposed to me cold calling, door knocking, and me, I always come from the lens of I treat people how I want to be treated.
I don't
I don't like when the duck cleaning people call my phone.
Yeah, get off my
I don't like when people knock on
It's
my
invasive,
door.
yeah.
People knock on my door. It's like I didn't invite you to my house. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the way I always operate my business is I treat people how I want to be treated. Yeah. Right. So, and another thing is if a real estate agent's knocking on my door, I don't even right away. I don't trust it because you have too much time on your hands. You should be closing deals right now. The fact that you have time to walk around a neighborhood and knock on doors tells me that you're not the person that I should
don't know. You're gonna get slack for that one.
Listen. No, I'm gonna be honest with you.
You're gonna get slack for that one.
You're not the person that I should be trusting with the biggest investment of my life, because if you were the right person, you'd be somewhere closing a deal as opposed to looking for business.
I disagree. I think by knocking on a door, it shows heart, it shows tenacity, and it shows dedication to the craft. Like if I'm starting out and the only way I can even get in front of you is to knock on your door, and you took the initiative to actually do it, that's worth something. That's worth commending. Like I've welcomed people into my house because I always had pretty nice houses. I'm like, oh, let me show you what my house is like. Like I had some real estate.
You're just a
by the
nicer
way.
guy too.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy,
But he didn't give them none of his business.
Right.
no, but like
You wanted to show your house off.
That's it. He's trying to start on them. He's trying to show them. He's trying to show them. Listen, my crib is not like they're not like us. You know what I mean? He's trying to show them that I'm a little different.
No, but
I got the big slabs.
It's worth
you know
something.
what I mean?
It's worth something.
It is. Listen, you commend it, but at the end of the day, we both know that that's not the most effective way of marketing. You have social media at the day and age where, like when we interviewed Brad Lamb, he was saying he was cold calling. That was in the 80s. That was in the 90s.
There wasn't social
Right
media.
now, there was no social media. Right now, in the palm of your hand, you have access to millions and millions and millions of people.
Right now, in the palm of your hand, you're watching these guys educate you.
But then now think about the statistics. How many people in, like, let's say the baby boomer generation are scrolling through Instagram? Not as many as that are in the millennial cohort. So, and how many people in the millennial cohort are actually homeowners? Not that many compared to baby boomers.
You might have to go on Facebook.
So it's like, maybe you're on Facebook, or you're putting your kicks on.
All right.
You're getting on the ground.
Let me
You're
ask you
knocking
this.
some doors.
How many doors have you knocked in your
I've
career?
never knocked a door in my life.
So how are you going to speak to it?
I rest my case.
Because I've given someone business from knocking my door. I swear to God, I've given someone business from knocking my door.
Your business, or you refer them out?
My business.
Okay, sure.
You know, it's because sometimes I don't like selling my own property.
So you trusted that person?
Yeah.
What made them make you trust them? Like, what was their demeanor? What was a good door knocker?
Because I'm a pretty good judge of character.
Gotcha.
And you can't communicate your character that well via a screen. I may not even ever come across it, but if you're in front of me now and you're charismatic, you're intelligent, you're knowledgeable, those things are worth something, right? People respect those things. And you carry yourself well, like you know what you're talking about, bro, I'll give you a chance to at least talk. Like I'm a firm believer in providing opportunity. I've been given so much opportunity that I'm a firm believer in providing opportunity, paying it forward wherever I can, if I can. Yeah. You know what I mean? If someone shows up right, you deserve to be heard. You know what I mean? That's just how I look at it.
Something just happened just now. The disagreement between partners.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with that on a daily basis?
I'll be honest with you. That is how we grow.
I know.
Right?
How do you guys deal with it?
At the end of
Who
the
makes
day,
the last call? How was the last call made?
It depends what it is.
Right.
Like I give them a lot of autonomy. And then I kind of just step in when it's like, okay, bro, no, like this should be done this way, you know? But I give them a lot of autonomy, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day is, if you don't have disagreements, you're not able to grow. You know what I mean? Most people want yes men around them. And I listen, I have one friend. He's sitting right here.
Right.
He's not a yes man. You know what I mean? When I'm doing something that's wrong, or if I'm doing something off script, he'll check me. You know? Most people...
We need that.
Most people don't like confrontation. Right? They're scared of confrontation. I love it because it helps me grow. When he checks me and he's like, yo, bro, why aren't you in the gym? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that?
Is Twii one of the only people that's allowed to check you? Certain people you can't check. You can't check me.
Anybody in my circle, and my circle is extremely small.
Yeah.
Anybody in my circle, and I can count on one hand, can check me. You know what I mean? But you know, many people might say, oh, I have a lot of friends, I'm popular, you know, a lot of people that know me, but
your circle.
It's very, very tight, right? And anybody that is around me is people that I trust with my life, right? So, but many people fear confrontation. Many people don't like disagreements. But at the end of the day, how do you grow without adversity?
And for me specifically, like I believe there's no room for emotion in business. Right? So anytime there is a disagreement, it's like, what's the logical way of addressing the situation? What's a logical solution to this problem? Like I'm a very logical person, even when it comes to like relationships and stuff. Like they may say like, you're emotionally unavailable. No, I'm available emotionally, but I'm just very logical.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I exercise logic, we exercise logic a lot, and that's kind of how we get things forward. It's like, okay, yeah, you may feel that way, but this makes the most sense to do, and this makes the better sense of a route to take.
You guys are traveling the world right now. You guys are in and out buying properties. What made you guys take your talents to South Beach and beyond? Just tired of Toronto, more opportunities in the States, you know, Dubai, Atlanta, Miami, wherever else you guys are, landing.
I'll be honest, bro. Like, I feel like we've hit our ceiling
here
in this city. Even when we had
when all the developments happening still?
Bro, like the first time I went to Dubai was the first time I felt poor in a very long time.
It's pretty rich out there.
People didn't want to,
it's regular out there.
We had a Rolls Royce and a Ferrari, and we pulled up to a restaurant and they didn't valet our car because our license plate was too long.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
That's how they're dealing with you guys.
That's how they were dealing with us rough. They told us to go around the building and self-park, right? Because out there, the wealth is different, right? And unless you have 100 mil out there, you're nobody's special. There's billionaires out there. They don't report their wealth.
Right.
You know, they're quiet money. But we've seen so much opportunity. We've seen so much room for growth. And even with Canada, man, the capital gains tax, they just raised it. They make it very, very, as much as this is an amazing place for people to build, development, it's a challenging game. You have Terrion, you have this, you have that. There's a lot of barriers to entry, a lot of red tape. And we just seen a lot of opportunity in the States and other places in the world where we felt like, you know what, Toronto's been great to us. You know, Toronto will always have a special place in our heart. You know, we'll always be here. You know, we have an annual conference that we're doing every year.
Let's talk about it.
We want it to be as big as OVO Fest, if not bigger. Right?
I don't even think OVO Fest is still happening, to be honest.
I'm not sure if it is or not.
This is going to take over that slot.
Yeah, so it's called M2M Con, is Millennials to Millionaires Conference. And, you know, we started, like I said, we started this off as a podcast, and seeing Earn Your Leisure, you know, who are our big brothers and our mentors, they've inspired us to, like, when we first sat down, they're like, yo, this is not a podcast.
Yeah. I think they lit the fuse for this space.
Yeah,
right?
this is a business.
Right.
You know, this is a show. Like, stop calling it a podcast, you know? And it's funny because Dame Dash told the same thing to them in an interview. So it's like having those right people around you is key. But even just going to Atlanta, you know, we were just in Atlanta this past weekend, and the room that we were in, I would say every person in that room, and there's probably 50, 60 people, everybody was worth 7 or 8 figures.
Right.
Where can I get in a room in Toronto where everybody is 7 or 8 figures?
I was gonna say, like, in life, your environment is everything, right? And certain environments are conducive to your growth. Certain environments are detrimental to your growth. And what we've seen in the States, at least, is the environment is very, very lucrative for everybody. Like we were saying earlier about the collaboration, like everybody's willing to collaborate. People think on a higher level. People think on a higher level of frequency, and we just don't have it here. Like there's something innately in us in Canada where we're all kind of very comfortable. We're all kind of very complacent to a certain degree. And I think that looking at the States and looking at, you know, people from around the world, there is complacency, but there's a bunch more examples of people that are doing big things on a massive level than there are to replicate here. You know, so it's like it's almost like the music industry when you look at it. Like, why did Jersey have to go to the States? Why did Tory have to go to the States? Why did The Weeknd have to go to the States?
Free Tory.
You know, and it's like we have to go to these places because that's where the market is a bit more receptive to that entrepreneurial, that grind mindset, that mentality, as it's not really available here.
And it's the growth as well. When you look at Canada, 30 million people, that's less than the state of California. I almost look at Canada as another state. Like we're an extension.
A huge state.
A huge state.
Right.
Right? When you really, really look at it. We're talking about the States with 333 million people. You know, no matter what you're doing, it's a bigger pool, it's a bigger audience. Right? Like even when we were in Miami, we bumped into somebody that's from Toronto. He used to be a trainer, a personal trainer at Equinox. He moved to Miami and he has a car rental business in South Beach. This is somebody from Toronto who moved there less than a year ago.
Took his capital down there, boom.
To renovate it, like there's appreciation that you've already gained in the 2, 3, 4 years that you've owned the property. Right? Like, and just even an example, one of our good friends, Corey Joseph. So when we shot our first episode for The Road to Development, the TV show I was telling you about, we did it in Miami. And Corey brought us to a lot that he purchased throughout COVID. If I remember correctly, I think he paid like 2.5 or 2.7 for the lot. He's building his dream house on it. It's right around the corner from a house that he currently lives. Right now, the property is valued over $5 million. Crazy. He hasn't broken ground. He hasn't knocked down a house.
Nothing yet.
He hasn't done anything yet.
So he could sell it right now if he wanted to.
He could sell it right now.
Would you recommend something like that? Would you recommend the sell, or it's a long-term play?
For him,
it's all on the person.
Yeah, it all depends on the person.
Right.
For him, he's built so much equity in that particular property. He's gonna essentially build his house pretty much for free.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Because now he has that equity when he's going for his construction loan. He has what's called like a land lift. He has so much equity there already.
Right.
You know, so the bank is going to say you need X amount down. No problem. The equity is there.
Take it.
Right. So, but where else besides real estate can you buy a property and forget about it for 3 years
Make money.
and make over $3 million.
No
You
way.
know what I mean? That's why when people always tell, oh, crypto this and stocks and all that stuff, it's great.
Yeah.
But this is the safest way to
park
build
your money.
wealth.
Yeah.
Period. It's the safest way to build wealth. You know what I mean? Where else can you see that?
So at this point now, you guys are, top of your game. Obviously, there's so much more to do and, how far to go. But, what's the next move for you guys? Are you, in terms of Toronto, right? There's Niagara, Hamilton. There's a bunch of spots that are kind of developing right now. Are you guys looking into anything like that for a Canadian that still wants to keep their money in Toronto specifically?
100%. So like I was saying, we just bought 10 acres in the Niagara region. Not too long ago, we just closed on it. We're working on that. We're building over 300 townhomes in that.
So these are
particular
2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. What is
Yeah,
it?
so it's going to be everything. So we have a mid-rise building, we have some townhouses, we have some stacked towns. Like it's going to be a mixed product, but everything's going to be between 3 and 500,000.
Right.
It's going to be bite-sized, so it's investment. Real estate,
And
right?
excuse me if I'm prying, but I just it intrigues me to know, is this a brokerage thing or this is like you guys?
No,
This
this
is
is
you guys
us.
in the team.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like we were literally on the ground in the snow with
Knocking
our
doors.
boots, knocking doors, trying to assemble this parcel of land. And by God's grace, we were able to put it together. And we brought in some partners as well, some heavier guys. And
Importance
now
of
it's
having
moving.
a team.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people feel like they can do it by themselves, and there's only 24 hours in a day. Anybody that's building an empire, you're only as strong as your team. And I see any successful company, they have a successful lineup, a successful roster. They have an all-star team. Whether we're looking at EYL, whether we're looking at development companies, they have a crazy team where it's like in place, where this person runs a social media, this person is doing land acquisition, this person is doing the fulfillment, this person is running the media side. So at the end of the day, we're only as strong as our team.
Right.
And there's only so far I can get by myself, and there's only so far I can just get with me and him. Where the plans that we have, like we want to make $1 billion. We're not going to do that just the two of us.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? So we understand the importance of building the right team and having the right players on our team. That's the only way we're going to win a championship.
I got you. And then that process itself, what does that look like? Obviously a builder takes 4 to 5 years to, complete a building, right? How long does 11 acres and how many townhomes? How long does that take? What does that process look like?
That's a great question. So it's 10 acres and we're building, it's what, 367 units. It's going to be phased out, right? Terrion is not going to allow us to build
One time.
368 units, 367 units, just like that on ourselves. So we're going to have a phase 1, a phase 2, a phase 3 where we're going to build it out. But
Like a 10-year plan, 15-year plan?
No, our goal is
Not that long.
5 to 6.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right? And at the end of the day, it's something where it's like, it's really a marathon. Nipsey Hussle's my favorite rapper, God rest his soul. But a lot of people are looking for that microwave success. A lot of people are looking, I want to invest in Bitcoin and maybe be a millionaire tomorrow, but if you could be a millionaire tomorrow, you could also lose $1 million tomorrow. And I've seen a lot of crypto millionaires live in their mom's basement right now. As we
On the
speak.
run right now.
You know what I mean? So I say that to say that it's a slow game. It's a patient man's game. And that's the thing where I feel like with millennials and our generation, nobody really wants to be patient to make the millions. People overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Right? So we have a game plan where, we want to get to 10 mil very, very soon. You know what I mean? Within the next 18, 24 months. And then from there, the next goal is 100.
Yeah.
From there, the next goal is.
And once there's momentum and you got a couple things
And I'll be
going,
honest with you, the first $1 million is the hardest.
That's what they say.
Right? I was blessed to be able to make my first $1 million before 26. But once you make that first $1 million, you have the blueprint.
Yeah.
It's just rinse and repeat. And now that you have that capital, as long as you're injecting it into the right places,
You're not blowing
you're
it
gonna
in Vegas.
Nah, you can't be doing
On the
that.
shorties.
You can't be doing that.
One thing I learned about money is money goes.
Facts.
Money
Very fast.
evaporates. Like even if you have $1 million sitting, that thing starts dwindling down very fast.
The
Right?
moment
So
you break up 50, it's gone.
it's over. It's over. And it's like what I realized when I started to see a good sum of money was like, you got to be ready for it. You got to be mentally prepared for it. It's beyond just having it. Because if you have it and have no plan with it,
You're done.
it's going to go.
Right.
It's inevitable.
And one thing about that as well is that when you make a lot of money, it's very easy to get comfortable. You make a mill very quickly. You're like, yo, I made it.
Right.
You know, you take your foot off the gas, you buy your dream car, buy your dream house, and before you know it, that million's gone. You know what I mean? Instead of still driving in that Honda Accord
And investing that.
and investing that million, keep your head down. Nobody's got to know you're
Put
a
in a
millionaire.
stock that's giving you quarterly
Listen,
dividends.
you got to
live
ask
off of
yourself,
that, or
what kind of car does Warren Buffett drive?
Honda, probably Toyota.
He drives a Ford Focus, I believe.
Nice and cheap.
And he still lives in the same house
One
that
of the
he
richest
lived
men in
in
the world.
Right? But it's the mentality,
Right.
right? And I feel like with our culture, our people,
You want to floss before they
that's
get it.
it, man. We spend too much time watching BT 106 in Park.
Talk
Not
about
knowing that these rappers don't even own those cars.
Talk about it.
They're calling us to borrow our cars to shoot their videos. You know what I mean? So I say that to say a lot of people need to understand you gotta keep your head down. There's nobody that you gotta impress. Like this generation is grinding to be seen, where me and this guy, we're grinding to disappear. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make 100 mil and we're in Dubai.
Where would you go with? Dream. You guys are 65, 70 now, and it's like packing it up. Portfolio's doing its thing, and you guys just want to kick back with the family. Where are you gonna go? Where's that end place for you guys? Twii.
65, 70.
I feel like you have this spot already. No.
65, 70. That's too far.
I know. I'm just like that's the point. Just paint the picture for me.
I mean, for me, like I'm from Ghana, right? So it's part of my vision, or part of my plan to build up enough capital, build up enough influence to now go there and actually impact some change. You know, if I can uproot whoever is in my life at that time, family, etc., and just relocate. If I have my essentials with me, it doesn't matter where I am, right? Family is, you know, where the heart is, they say, right? So if I have my people with me, I'm cool. But I know I have to do some things in Ghana. I would love to contribute to the skyline there.
Yeah. You have a spot out there yet or no? Not yet.
House-wise, yeah. Land, yeah.
Got you.
But then again, it's a different society because there's no mortgaging, right? So everything is capital. It's cold hard cash. So it's like my capital goes much further here currently than me to, you know, divest here to invest there. You know what I mean? So it's
And
like
I'm sure
when I
there's
have-
not much crazy growth happening over there right now.
There
Like,
is. You'd
there?
be
Yeah.
surprised. You'd be surprised.
Crazy.
So there's a lot of equity being built, but then again, like now you have to have the market to now sell that house once you've built it or et cetera, right? So when I have that ability where I can, you know, take $1 million, 2 million, and go there and not really worry about getting that back right away is when I'm going to do that. So that's part of my plan. And then obviously, I do really like Florida, so I definitely would want to have some roots there.
Yeah.
Dubai, he'll probably be in Dubai, so I'll be shooting
That's where you're gonna
over
be?
there.
100%. Like in the summertime,
Why
I'll be
you love
honest,
Dubai? Everybody's talking about Dubai right now.
So I love Dubai for a few reasons. It's extremely safe. You know, it's the one place in the world I feel like I never have to look over my shoulder.
Right.
You know,
Sorry.
it not only is extremely safe, it's tax free. I love that.
I think a lot of
Might
people- a
not
lot of
be by
people
the
do.
time you're 70.
Maybe not.
Why are they looking to change those kind of things?
Yeah, they are. There's
yeah.
conversations already.
But right now, it's tax free. And one of the biggest things I love about Dubai is the networking.
Yeah.
Because it's so safe, you could be in a hookah lounge and bump into 50 Cent or Floyd Mayweather and actually be able to get their ear, give them your elevator pitch, have a conversation. I've met more people in a 2-week span in Dubai
a year
than I
somewhere.
have in my life in Toronto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've met billionaires. I've met people worth 100, 200, 300, 500 million. Hey, come to my penthouse, and
Yeah, just shoot
I'm
the shit.
able to just pick their brain and kind of understand and realizing that these guys are still working 50, 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
Not because they need the money, but because they're addicted to the grind.
Yeah, just lifestyle now.
They're addicted to the hustle. You know what I mean? But just seeing Dubai and just as a developer as well, seeing the lens that 50 years ago, it was a desert.
Yeah, just sand.
And now they have the biggest mall, they have the biggest building, the Burj Khalifa, they have the biggest, you know, hotels. Like everything that they do it to a level.
Well, they're super rich, right? So they can.
That's
they
it.
can
You know, and
afford that.
I'm the type of person. Anything that I do as well, I have that same mentality. I want to go hard or go home.
Right.
Even when I was playing football in high school, most people, you know, they're up by 10, up by 20 points. They take their foot off the gas. I want to crush that team by 100.
Right.
I don't want them to ever want to come back to their school.
You're the ruthless guy.
Yeah, I want to go hard. Listen, we're going. Listen, and we're
going.
That's it. You know, it's not even about winning. It's about how much did we beat you by. Right. So just that mentality of just always striving for more, striving for bigger, striving for greatness, I feel super aligned. So as I said, summertime, it's 50 degrees out there. It's a desert, but I see myself spending maybe 5 to 6 months in the winter to Dubai. Other time in the year,
So we'll catch you in Dubai.
In the winters, yeah. In the summertime, it might be Europe, it might be south of France, it might be Greece, it might be Santorini. But I definitely love the energy on that side of the world. Even when we're in Europe, man, places are shutting down for lunch and businesses it's just the slower pace. Right. Where here it's like the rat race and you got to go and you burn out very quickly.
You got to have 3-4 jobs to live out here, man. It's tough. It's tough in Toronto.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is,
but
right?
I'll be honest as well. Even hanging around this guy, we're polar opposites, but we're also the same.
I can see that.
Right? And I used to have a very, very scarcity mentality that this guy has kind of helped take me out of. And just for example, because remember, I come from nothing. I moved over 30 times. I come from the bottom. So I always have a fear of this money. I got to hold on to it tight.
I gotta double it.
You know what I mean? I got to just invest it. And you know what I mean? I don't want to spend because I'm scared of going back to that place. I'm scared of opening up the fridge and just seeing baking soda. Right. You know what I mean? But especially traveling with him, anywhere that we go, he's like, what's the most expensive hotel I can stay at? So he's
just for the vibe.
Just for the vibe. And I'm at, where's the cheapest?
Where's more cost efficient?
Yeah, where is the best 3.5 to 4-star hotel I can stay at?
Twii wants a 6-star.
Within
Facts.
a 3-kilometer radius of where this guy is at, so I'm not going crazy on the Ubers back and forth. But one thing I realized, and a light bulb went off in my head when we were in Miami, and he stayed at the SLS, and I stayed at the Novotel, right? And I was with our camera.
You're not trying to pay that bill.
I wasn't. I'm gonna be honest. I knew it was gonna be an expensive weekend already. Right. You know what I mean? We split all the costs down the middle, but I'm like, listen, bro, I'm not paying $600 a night. I'm good with 2.
Yeah.
With our cameraman, we stayed over there, and just him being there alone, the networking that he was able to do in the lobby, the people that he was bumping into, right away, he probably had more opportunity to make more connections and make more money on that trip just based on where he was.
Just by spending a little more.
It's proximity.
That's it. You know what I mean? Who am I going to meet at the Novotel that's going to help elevate my company to another level?
Right.
Who am I going to meet there that's...
You never know. You might meet another that's cost efficient.
I might, but the odds of that
the odds are
very slim.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? And I say that to say that a lot of people, they want to hold on to their money, but he's taught me that you got to spend with the confidence that money is coming back.
Which goes back to your investor point, right? Educate them on spending the money, but it's not spending it. You're investing.
Like, where did you get that mentality from? Like, why are you so frivolous with money? Why do you spend so much?
That's not the word.
Frivolous.
Frivolous is not the word. It's not the word. Why am I so laxed? Why am I so giving?
Sure.
Why do I have an abundant mentality?
Yeah.
I mean, that comes from faith. That comes from the Bible. That comes from my mom. That comes from the upbringing. It's like we never had, but we never stressed. We never believed that we're gonna lack forever, right? It's like we always knew, okay, if you do certain things, if you lived a good life, if you tithe, if you seed, like God is gonna replenish you. Like if you have a scarcity mentality, you're already saying to God, I don't believe that you can replenish me, so I gotta fend for myself. If you have an abundant mentality, it's like, yo, I'm gonna live this life of abundance because I exude abundance, and whatever I give out or whatever I spend out is gonna come back to me tenfold.
Amen.
You know what I mean? That's something that I wholeheartedly believe. It's not even like a cap. I don't pretend. I stay in amazing places. I go amazing places. I don't even post them all because it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's more about me living my truth and living with integrity, knowing that this is who I am. I'm at this level, but more importantly,
you earned it.
I'm here because God put me here, and He's gonna continue to keep me here. You know what I mean? It's not gonna leave me because I haven't left me. I'm still the same grounded person that I was when I was 14 years old and I was running around in the couch looking for quarters. just to buy some 5-cent candies and a freezy. Like, you know what I mean?
You gotta live like that no more, baby.
You'll still catch me in traffic with a slushie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or a freezy. So.
But going on to that point, I remember there was a Steve Harvey clip, and he said something about like, yo, you should fly first class. I'm not sure if you ever seen that clip. It was like behind the scenes of Family Feud, and he was like, yo, flying first class is gonna motivate you to go harder, because once you sit in those seats,
You don't want to go back there.
and you're eating, steak and branzino instead of,
Sandwich.
Fish fillet,
the
whatever
fish fillet
nonsense
or the
back.
fish and sticks that they're giving you back there, it's just like right away that's gonna to motivate you to keep that same standard of living.
That level.
You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, I have never flown first class yet. Not to say that I can't afford it, but it's just like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna try it, and maybe I love it, and
I feel like you'd rather just jump on a jet then. If you're gonna spend the money,
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The jet thing I think is a little bit overrated, and
so?
it was even when I was speaking with Rich Paul at InvestFest last year, and he's like, I don't have enough money to fly private
every time.
and I'm just like,
Yeah, you do.
this is Rich Paul talking. You know what I mean? But you see these rappers and these guys hopping on and off jets and stuff like that. But it's just like, sure, I get it, the convenience factor and, the privacy. I get it. Maybe when I get to 100 mil, I'll think a little bit differently.
Right.
But right now, for me to spend 30,000 on a flight, I'd rather buy another pre-con.
There it is. Talking about pre-con, M2N con. When is that?
So M2M con.
Is it public yet? Are you? Is
So
it time?
By the
know
time
what?
this comes out.
By the
Okay,
time
gotcha.
this comes
Perfect,
out,
perfect.
it'll be launched. We're gonna be actually launching it next week. So man, we're dropping a lot of gems here today. You're
fucking
getting
loving it,
You're
brother.
getting all
Yes, sir.
the exclusives
I'm
right
loving
now.
it. Let's keep it
But
going.
now we are launching M2M Con, which is going to be which is the largest financial literacy conference in Canada. Whether you want to invest in stocks, real estate, learn how to develop land, learn how to build your brand, learn sales, learn how to take and transform your life. Whether you want to go from 5 figures to 6 figures, from 6 figures to 7 figures, this is going to be a one-stop where a weekend that's going to be able to transform your life. So we're so excited about it. We got Earn Your Leisure. We got, we got so many people. I can't even drop everybody that we got.
Don't drop them all.
I can't drop everybody, but I will say that we have a crazy lineup where if you're driven, if you're motivated, and if you really are serious about taking your life to the next level, this is going to be a weekend that you don't want to miss.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
When is it?
It's September 13th to 15th. I know it's going to be a 3-day event. The VIP night's going to be on Friday, where we're going to be networking. A lot of
Sunday.
a lot of 7-figure individuals are going to be there. 8-figure individuals, people that you might have a pitch, you might have a business idea.
I got 4 figures, but I'll be there, bro.
Listen, you might have a pitch that you want. You might find your next investor.
You damn right.
You might find an angel investor that wants to give you $1 million and they see your vision for this. You know what I mean? And they want to help take your business to the next level. So Friday is going to be the VIP networking night. Saturday is going to be the full conference day. It's going to be jam-packed. I think we're going to open doors at like 8 a.m. The show will probably start around 10 a.m. till going to like 8.
Yeah.
And it's going to be jam-packed with gems. Like everything that we've learned since we bought our first property at 21. Now, I'm 31 now. He's a couple years older than me, but 10 years in the game, we're going to be crunching all of the gems that we've learned.
Yeah.
Everything that our mentors have taught us, we're going to be crunching that down to 3 days. And we're going to show people how you can transform your life in a very, very short period of time.
I'm super excited, brother. You guys did it last year. It was huge.
No, it was massive, and last year was more like a test.
Yeah.
We put it together in 2 weeks. And we just wanted to see if there was an appetite for it in the city.
There is.
Right. And, was just seeing what Earn Your Leisure has done in the States. Our goal is to essentially bring InvestFest to Canada. Right. Because, we're cool to get together for Caravana. We're cool to party together. We're cool to pop bottles. But let's normalize getting in the room and actually doing things that are going to actually level us up and take care of our family.
Get educated.
And educate and help us build. And I'll be honest, that is what has also led us to build the community that we're building right now, which is one of the biggest educational platforms when it comes to real estate and investing. It's It's called the Winner Circle. And we're going to be launching that very soon as well. So M2M
1,000 things on the go right now.
1,000 things on the go. And the thing is, we went off the grid, for like 6-8 months earlier.
Just kind of
Yeah, after M2M Con last year, it was cool, but it's just like, we need to be intentional. We're not just doing a podcast just to do it. We're trying to build an empire
for a reason.
So we had to take a step back. And that's why I tell people all the time, disappear for 6 months. Don't be scrolling on the gram. Don't be popping bottles in the club. Don't take any vacations. Don't talk to any new girls. Like, just lock in for 6 months. 6 months can actually change your life. 6 months can set you up for the next 5 to 10 years. If you actually are intentional on what you're doing, if you're reading the right books, if you're talking to the right people, if you're listening to the right podcasts. Like this guy, he's big on podcasts. And me, when I'm driving, like, I love to bump tunes.
You just want the tunes.
I want the tunes. As soon as I came in today, I told the DJ, I'm like, I need Choppa. You know what I mean? I need that Choppa track, a little baby on it. But he's a guy where anytime I'm in his car, he doesn't listen to music.
Right.
He's listening. What's that? What's your favorite podcast?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. What's your top two right now?
I like Earn Your Leisure.
Right.
And I like My First Million.
My First Million.
Those are my go-tos.
Those are your go-tos right now?
Yeah.
For entertainment purposes, what are you watching?
I'm not big on entertainment stuff.
No Joe Budden? No, not.
No, I don't watch none of that. I don't watch none of that.
None of the foolishness.
No. I'm a firm believer in
what you put in.
Really auditing what you're putting into your mind.
Because you're feeding yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Feeding is not just what you're eating.
It's what you're consuming.
What you're consuming,
what you're listening to,
what you're hearing,
all that.
Who you're talking to. You know what I mean?
Well, brothers, I could do this all day because there's a few questions I didn't touch on right now, but I'm going to get you guys out of here.
We'll get a part 2.
No, we're definitely going to do a part 2. I'm definitely going to see you guys
post-event
in September. You know what I mean? I can't wait for that. And, I appreciate you guys just coming by and giving me an hour of your time, bro. I appreciate you guys.
Twii,
it's all love.
M2M, keep going, guys. You guys are kind of leading the ways for us. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing.
Nah, we appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for giving us a platform to speak on. Because at the end of the day, we're way better together.
Yeah.
And that's just what it comes down to. We could all be doing our own work in a silo somewhere, but the world needs to see that, okay, people collaborate, and people collaborate for good reasons. And because at the end of the day, we want impact. We want people to live good lives. Why not? There's so much out there. There's so we don't even have the capacity to buy every property. But if we all came together, we could buy a bunch of things, right? So, man, congrats on everything, and thank you for having us, bro.
There you have it, yo. You guys have it. Another episode with Stephen Rochester. You got Twii, you got Danyel, M2M. September, check them out. September 11th?
September 13th to 15th.
To 15th. M2M Con. We're gonna be there. Check them out. I'll send you guys the links down below.
It's the same weekend as TIFF, so you could either go
down.
You can watch the movies, or you can come figure out how to change your life.
Or do both.
Or you can do both. Choice is yours.
There you have it.